Well, hello everyone. This is Dr. Shelley Plum, and I'd like to welcome you all back to From the Hip. Today, I have something very serious to talk to you about. We are going to talk about safety. In particular, we're going to talk about traffic safety. And traffic safety, honestly, many of you know me. I have 3 beautiful children, and one of my children is just about to embark in the driving scene. And I will tell you, it makes me nervous. It makes me incredibly nervous. And I'm watching, actually, I dove into the statistics with regards to traffic safety, and it seems like a lot of the cars are getting safer, but the statistics show that there are still so many fatalities that are out there. So we set out to find an expert in the statistics and how we can protect ourselves, and we found attorney Eric Romano. Now, Mr. Romano is from Romano Law Group, and he will be joining us. We'll come back in just a moment, and we're going to talk about traffic safety, texting while driving. We're going to talk about how we can protect ourselves and our family. We'll be back in a moment. Welcome to PlumbTalk Productions, a full-service production company based in West Palm Beach, Florida. Business owners know that every second of the day is a unique opportunity to reach out to an audience and make an impact. Which marketing options do we dive into and spend our hard-earned dollars? Here at PlumbTalk Productions, we have done our research and we can sum it up all in one word: video. How powerful is video? Well, let's look at some percentages. How about 64%? After watching a video, 64% of users are more likely to buy a product or service online. 100%. YouTube reports that mobile video consumption rises 100% every year. How about 200%? It has been documented that video and email leads to 200 to 300% increase in click-through rates. Oh yes, audiences are most certainly expecting more and expecting it faster. In a day and age when people are overwhelmed with facts and time is limited, they want information in real time. They want it immediately. Video is the perfect medium for that. PlumbTalk Productions is a full-service production company dedicated to helping you find your voice in an efficient, competent, and creative manner through video. What do? The sky is the limit, really. We are pleased to offer many services, from on-location shoots to promotional video and customized Facebook Live video. If you can dream it, we can stream it. That's what we say, and that is the truth. Are customers paying attention? People ask us that all the time. Oh yes, the customers are certainly paying attention to video. That is why we must, as business owners, make every second count and increase revenue through the power of video. At PlumbTalk Productions, we can do this fast and affordably with the quality our consumers expect. So, reach out. Reach out now. We're easy to reach through our website at PlumbTalkProductions.com. Call us at 561-855-0764. Don't wait. Now is the time for video. We are dedicated to helping you make every moment count. Well, hello everyone. We are back, and I am here with attorney Eric Romano. How are you, Eric?
Doing just fine, thanks. How are you?
I am doing great. Okay, so we are about to embark on a journey together. We're going to talk about that traffic safety. First of all, in the beginning, I was talking about cars being safer, but the statistics are not reflecting that. We are curious, as viewers, are you seeing that in your law firm?
I am, absolutely.
So, what are you seeing? I mean, of all the traffic accidents that are coming to you that need help, they need representation, what kind of trends are you seeing?
Well, over the last couple of years, we've seen a lot more cell phone use, text messaging, and what we generally refer to as distracted driving playing a much larger role in car accidents.
Is that right? Is that right? So percentage-wise, I know we were talking about percentages, and one thing, and I'll be honest with you, one thing that alarmed me is the number of accidents going up that are related to texting and driving, and even talking on the phone. What percentage of your practice do you think it is?
Well, within our firm, what we're seeing is probably about a third right now of the cases that we're involved in have cell phone usage as at least a contributing factor to the crash. And then that seems to be gradually going up because more and more people are using them.
Now let's talk about the laws specifically, because we are in Florida, although we have viewers that are outside of Florida. But in Florida, can you educate or even remind our viewers what the laws are with respect to texting, for example?
Sure. Well, you're not permitted to text or email or essentially communicate in a written form while driving. Now you can still talk on the phone, and of course talking through a Bluetooth device or a headset is preferred, but there are no restrictions on talking on the phone while driving. The restrictions relate to texting and sending or reading emails.
Right. You know, it's interesting, while you're talking, I am thinking of some scientific literature that I was reading with regards to multitasking, and kind of share it with you. It's actually interesting. It may pertain to what we're talking about today. There was a statistic that showed that we physically in our brains are not able to multitask very well. A lot of psychologists actually call it task switching, where we switch back and forth to different tasks, and it takes us longer to do things, and we don't remember as well, or we forget things and we don't get things done. So let's apply that to what we're talking about now. When we're driving and we're talking, whether it be on the Bluetooth or even on our cell phone, do you think that we're able to adequately pay attention to the road?
Absolutely not, because when you're driving, we all know you're in control of a piece of heavy equipment or machinery, really, that's several thousand pounds.
Right.
It is inherently dangerous, and it takes 100% of your full attention to do it correctly. And anything that distracts you from that attention, or distracts your attention from that task, is pulling you away from being able to drive safely. I've seen it myself and realized that if I am talking on the phone while driving, I am not 100% focused on driving. And I have realized that I can be driving somewhere, pass a place, not even realize I've passed it, and come into that realization, I've stopped trying to talk on the phone while I'm driving.
That's true. That is very true. So as far as, let's talk about ages. And, you know, texting and driving, or even speaking on the phone and driving. Are you finding any trends with regards to that? Are they mainly younger people? Are they middle-aged, older people? Or is it a combination of both?
It is a combination of both. I think we're seeing more and more younger people doing it because they tend to be communicating more through social media, text messaging.
Yes.
But I'm seeing it across all age groups.
You are?
I am.
So, you know, and I know you know, and all our viewers out there know that my son is just about to embark on driving, and I meant it when I say I get palpitations when I think about that. You know why? You're going to laugh at this. He looked at me the other day. He's taken a driver's ed course. He looked at me, never been behind the wheel, and said, "I can drive better than you." So I'm thinking, oh no. So as a parent, and your little girl, I think, just started driving.
That's right.
She's 16 years old. What can we as parents tell our children to prepare them for not texting and driving? What words of advice would you give them?
Well, as you know, as the parent of a teenager, they don't always take mom and dad's advice all that well.
That is very true.
So it's no easy task. But I can tell you what we've done at home, and I think this is good advice. Only time will tell whether it works. But we've sat down with our daughter on numerous occasions and explained to her the dangers of texting and driving, the dangers of talking on the phone while driving.
Right.
And what we've tried to do is set out a rule for her that is, you are not to touch your phone at all while you're in the car.
That's a good rule of thumb for all of us, don't you think?
I agree.
Yes.
Absolutely.
You know, we were talking before the interview here about, I've started putting my phone in the back seat because it's too tempting. It's too tempting, especially if it's ringing too, right? Yes. Now, unfortunately, some of us don't stop something unless we hear something horrible. Are there any cases that you have had, obviously without naming names, or just situations that you've encountered related to texting or talking on the phone and accidents that you can relate to us to show us what can happen?
Sure. I can tell you about a very tragic case that we were recently involved in.
Is that right?
In which a 17-year-old girl was driving her car by herself.
Okay.
Had the radio on.
Yes.
Grabbed her phone to read and respond to a text message that she had gotten, and in that half a second while she reached for the phone, another car cut into her lane. She looked up, swerved to avoid it, Her car ended up going off the road into a ditch, rolling over, and she died in the crash.
Oh, that is so sad. I'm getting chills because, you visualize your loved ones there, don't you?
Of course.
So let's take that a step further. Say that you are a person who grabs that phone and you're texting, and maybe it's not you that rolled over and over, you hit somebody else. All right, legally, and I don't know the answer to this, and I would love to know your input on this, is what happens to you? I mean, say you hit somebody and they end up passing away from the accident, what happens legally?
Well, if you caused the crash, you are legally responsible for paying for the damages caused by that crash, which means you are likely to face a claim, potentially a lawsuit against yourself, the owners of the car,
yes,
and your insurance company. And in many cases where you've got a teenager or a young person driving, they're typically driving a car that is owned by a parent or guardian.
Right.
And under Florida law, the parents, as the owners of the car, are just as responsible for any damage caused by the car as if they were behind the wheel themselves.
Is that right?
So that liability can extend to people beyond just the one behind the wheel.
That's incredible. That's incredible. So, and another thing too, and one thing that is coming to mind, I know that there are statistics out there right now that show that when you're tired, overtired, they can equate that to a certain percentage of almost like drinking alcohol.
Right.
When you're over fatigued. I think you and I have actually had a conversation on that a while back. But is this the same thing? Meaning, if you're on the phone and you're distracted, I mean, is your focus the same possibly as being under the influence in some respect? I know that's a funny question.
It is, but you hit on a great point. I
Yes.
think all the studies and statistics show that anything that distracts you from the task of driving,
Right.
which is operating your vehicle, following the rules of the road, and doing so safely.
Yes.
Anything that distracts from that is a danger, whether it's being under the influence of drugs or alcohol, whether it's talking or texting on your phone, whether it's just being too tired and sleepy,
Yes.
or talking to your friends in the car, going to adjust the radio or change out your CDs, anything like that can be a danger.
That's interesting, and it's really something that I'm glad that we're talking about this today because people need to know. I need to know, and this is really wonderful information. So another question I have, and we have talked about this, is you have an incredible newsletter, and I've commended you on it because there is a lot of information in the newsletter that can help. If people out there want to learn more about the statistics with regards to this, and this is going to help me because I plan on printing your newsletter and showing it to my son because it's really very important. What sources are out there for people to consult with?
I'll give you a couple of great resources.
Okay.
First of all, there is a nonprofit organization that was formed a few years ago by actually an attorney who lost his daughter tragically in a car accident caused by a distracted driver. The organization is called End Distracted Driving, and the website is enddd.org.
Okay.
It is a tremendous organization with tremendous resources. I would start by going there because they've got great tips. One of the things they have, which I think is terrific, is essentially a contract that you can print out and have your child or teen driver sign.
That's
kind of sets
great.
forth rules, and you have your teen driver say, I promise to follow these rules. And it's a way to just kind of, reaffirm to them the importance of not texting and driving or engaging in some of these dangerous behaviors.
You know what? I love that. And the reason is through our lives, we sign contracts, and it really is preparing our children for future. And it really, two things. One, draws attention to, okay, here is what we're expecting, and there's a degree of responsibility there.
Absolutely.
That they have to follow. I love that. What was the website again?
enddd.org. And
Okay.
I'll tell you, there is one other thing that I think everybody should learn
Right.
about. We're looking into this as parents
Okay.
of a teen driver. There are several apps available now that parents can get in order to help prevent their teens, or at least dissuade them from texting and driving. And some of these apps you can put on the phone. They tie into a little device that goes into the computer outlet in the car.
Right.
That can disable the phone or disable text messages or disable or at least restrict certain functions on the phones while the car is in motion.
That's great. That's great. And where would we find information on that?
There are a few. If you just do a Google search for them, there's a whole
Yeah.
list that will come up. There are quite a few. I know that one is called Cell Control, one is called Drive Safely, and there's another one I believe called Drive Safe Mode. But there are a whole list of others that are out there and available, and I think they're well worth looking into.
That's great. That's great. Okay, well, that is wonderful. We're going to take this moment. We're going to take a quick break. In a moment, we will be back, and Mr. Romano will give us a few words of advice. We're asked a lot of times, what are the goals of PlumbTalk? And honestly, that's a question that's a little difficult in a way to answer because we have so many goals. But, learning from past mistakes, I have taken these goals and we've kind of condensed them into really two different realms of goals. Number one is we aim to educate the community, and that is a very important thing for us. We are a resource, and how I like to explain that is, in our lives, a lot of us go through some trying times, and we like to, here at PlumbTalk, describe our life as a puzzle. And, any puzzle has pieces, and all of our pieces to the puzzle in our life are different. And there are times in our life, and I'm sure you can relate to this, when those pieces of the puzzle either become loose or, they're missing altogether, and we need that information. We need something to put that piece back together again. And that's what PlumbTalk aims to do. We aim to be the resources that you can really take that information and put your piece of the puzzle back together again. And we do that through many different avenues. One, and you probably have seen this, is we interview specialists in different areas. And again, that's what we're trying to do, is to bring information in to put the pieces of the puzzle back together again. So we aim to be a resource. That's one of our major goals. The second thing is our production arm that we have. And our production arm is a little different than, what typical production companies do. Our major aim with our production is to give businesses out there a voice that helps them to get their message across in a way that nobody else can. And we do that in several different ways. We are a full-service production company, and we do everything from creating a program, to writing the script, to coaching on how to speak properly in front of a camera, and editing. We have state-of-the-art editing techniques. So PlumbTalk has many different goals, but they really focus on those two major arms. We aim to be a resource, and we aim to help businesses out there get their voice known and heard like it's never been heard before. Well, hello everyone. We are back, and we are, I'm curious, for all of our viewers out there, Mr. Romano, that are there any tips that you can leave them with as far as safety, cell phone usage, safety on the road, the legalities regarding getting in car accidents? What words of advice would you leave them with?
Well, other than what we've talked about, I think it starts with educating yourself.
Yes. So
that you can properly educate your child or your teen driver or others in your family about safe driving habits.
Right.
And lead by example. I can tell you, I got this idea from a friend of mine, and it's a brilliant one. I've started doing it. Because I used to catch myself looking at text while at a red light or talking on the phone. I make it a point now to not touch my phone at all while I'm in the car. And I've told my kids, if you happen to catch me even glancing at my phone while we're in the car, let me know. I owe you $5.
Really?
And believe me, they enforce that.
I bet you they do.
But it's a great way to make sure they understand that's how important it is to me.
Yes.
To make sure that I'm setting a good example in the hopes that they drive safely.
I absolutely love that. I think those are just wonderful words of advice. It keeps us accountable, and you know what it does is, like you just said, it shows them how important it is to us as parents, leading by example. That's amazing. So for viewers out there who have seen this interview and really would love to either contact you, ask you more questions, or may have an issue that they might want to ask you legally, where would you point them?
You can go to our website. Our law firm is Romano Law Group. The website is romanolowgroup.com. And there you can find my contact information, including my email address, and I can share with you any of the information or statistics that we've talked about today and be happy to answer any questions you have.
Perfect, perfect. So on behalf of the entire PlumbTalk team, we really loved having you today. Thanks for joining us.
Well, thanks for having me.
Thank you. And for all you viewers out there, this has been another segment of From the Hip. We will be back tomorrow with a new segment. Stay tuned.